Come to Papa. Oh, he still lives inside of me. Yes, he does. Why? I can feel him right now. Yes. Stop. He's reaching out for his baby girl. Stop it! Shut up!
Welcome to Derry just showed us how brutal and how kind Pennywise can really be. It also proves that this very first season seems to be Pennywise having the most fun. And with the brutal burning of the black spot, no matter how much we were hoping all the characters would be safe, turns out
they're cooked.
So in this video, we'll be going over the burning, highlighting some very cool moments, and by the end of the video, we'll be breaking down the promo for the finale and speculating on what exactly could be going down, as well as covering where exactly this mysterious fog could be rolling in from, and why. As fans of the channel know, this is the episode and moment we've been waiting for ever since the first teaser dropped. Either way, we start the episode off finally getting a clue as to who Bob Gray really was. A tragic man who has seemed to have lost his wife, and at one point worked within the circus and lost that position as well. But he has the love and support of his daughter and tends to run a good show where people enjoy his acts, though they don't tend to give him his personal space. Interestingly enough, we see the entity of it studying and watching Pennywise the entire time he's doing this, realizing that his favorite dish, being kids filled with fear, could be much easier to get if he dresses up as a clown, leading him to the woods and leaving only a bloody handkerchief behind. I do actually think we're gonna find out more about Bob Gray's story should the series go on to a third season, as it will capture the same time period. And there may even be more to be revealed about why Pennywise deadlights some people and eats others, and how exactly he ends up taking the forms of these different entities. As we see, he even retains the Pennywise form when he's entering his slumber. It's safe to assume that Pennywise did end up eating Bob Gray, as he admitted himself later in his confrontation with Ingrid. During this confrontation, Pennywise was actually pretty kind, and we'll break that down a little bit later. But when asked about Bob, Pennywise seems to contemplate a little bit before admitting that he actually ate him, almost as if he was sort of coming up with a lie. And it's crazy how in this one tiny sequence we get Pennywise at his most kind and his most cruel. And he was kind enough to almost let her live, but cruel enough to show her that her dad and his soul was still being tormented within the deadlights. Bill Skarsgård killed it in the performance of showing that her dad was still trapped in there, soulless and terrified, while watching Pennywise reach out towards his very own daughter. As with a lot of Pennywise victims, if not all of them, your soul remains active and trapped in a constant nightmare. Or this could just be how the deadlights work, I'm not exactly too sure. But I'm sure Periwinkle does, as Pennywise does end up giving her the deadlights treatment. And while it was much deserved, we already know she won't be the last one to get the same treatment by the end of the season. And just a reminder, some of y'all have let me know that YouTube haven't been pushing out my videos very much. So a like, a comment, any form of support really do mean a lot if you want to see more videos like these, or if you found any part of it entertaining. But let's go ahead and go over the burning of the black spot itself. It seems the fear fueling the town the last few months have culminated in the burning of the black spot. Another massacre for Pennywise to enjoy, and was also kind of responsible for before he takes his big sleep. Only this time he gets the added surprise of getting freed from his prison after his lovely meal, ready to run amok all around Derry and likely the United States. We catch back up with the racists of Derry, who come to the belief that if someone messes with the kids of Derry, you resolve it by burning more of the kids of Derry. It shows that the residents of Derry were always evil, and I've seen speculation and explanations that Pennywise has always been the reason, whether it be the presence or cosmic force behind his eldritch entity nature, or him literally shedding pieces of himself into the Derry water system. Either way, what was just a theory on Pennywise's involvement in these historic events is now getting more clarification, and we find that most of the events that transpire throughout this show happened because Pennywise took Maddie. Taking Maddie led to the kids investigating the theater, which led to more dying, and Hatchet Hank being blamed for the massacre, and so on and so forth, all leading to the eventual burning of the black spot, which was a brutal one. We get an amazing one-shot following all the chaos and seeing as things slowly escalate to become worse and worse for everyone trapped inside. I love that Pennywise didn't really push for this to happen, but just kinda showed up when it did, ready to feast on all the fear and chaos. But thanks to Halloran's abilities with the shine, he is able to find some of the kids and break out of there. Though we do get an amazing sequence of him facing off with Pennywise before he does. I loved how the series has tackled Halloran specifically and the shine in contrast with Pennywise as an entity. Side note, there's always this argument in Stranger Things on who would win, Pennywise or Vecna, and Vecna falls more in lines of someone who's maybe really powerful with the shine. But again, you look at that compared to Pennywise, who doesn't really take it as a threat.
What's the matter? Seeing things? Oh, I think they see you too!
So while the shine is kinda useless against a fight going up against Pennywise, it was useful in at least saving some people. Unfortunately, it wasn't good in saving Richie and Marge, who ended up getting left behind when debris was falling everywhere. Now, I thought that potentially Rich was gonna get trapped somewhere and reach his hand out to Pennywise, then getting eaten, but he got a much better outcome and I'm totally okay with it. Rich, being the knight that he is able to put Marge out of fire and also guide her to a cooler to protect her from the building flames, giving her a solemn goodbye before eventually succumbing to all the smoke. Now again, this is a much better fate for a character and a very heroic one at that. See, like I said earlier, if Pennywise gets a hold of you and kills you, it's likely your soul will be trapped within him in an endless nightmare or torment. So it's nice to see some characters go out like heroes and not have to suffer that horrible fate. Still, it was super sad to see the whole group crying over him when the flames finally went out, and that did remind me of the fact that I was kind of worried that these kids wouldn't be able to perform well considering the series trailer. But as soon as the series started, all of these kids were giving really good performances, who tend to knock it out of the park when it comes to these fearful, sad, or really emotional scenes. Even when it came to the fire and Ronnie coming across Pennywise eating someone's face. You can see throughout the one-shot and all the chaos, slowly less and less people are within the frame, meaning the Black Spot Massacre left very few survivors. Although I kinda wish we did see a bird of sorts, as Will had seen in the books, or that we could have even seen more of the racists get what they deserved. And while there's still time for that before the season wraps up, it was really only Mr. Kirsch who suffered any consequences. Mr. Kirsch, whose car breaks down and he does end up confronting Periwinkle or his wife Ingrid. It's during their conversation that you can kind of presume Mr. Kirsch was an abuser of sorts, before Pennywise eventually shows up and takes him out with his own cleaver. It's funny because Pennywise doesn't really use weapons too often, which means just because Mr. Kirsch was there, he basically created a cleaver to take him out specifically. Ingrid, or Periwinkle, is super happy to see him one more time, and Pennywise surprised me and actually still pretending to be her dad. Periwinkle explained how she sort of got all this going into motion, and I fully thought Pennywise was going to reward her help with just simply chewing her down. But instead, he actually gives her a full-on hug, meaning him asking about the bow and leaving her alive was Pennywise genuinely showing some kindness. You can even notice it here when he claims he's gonna go to sleep and Ingrid first shows her remorse over it. Pennywise is actually showing concern for her feelings here, calming her down in the only creepy way he knows how, or at least trying to, as she really just can't let him go. Which this grip her father held on her really was what led her to her eventual demise, with Pennywise deciding to give her the Deadlights treatment, which in my personal opinion is a very fitting outcome for the character. I firmly believe that she and Juniper Hill likely fed more kids to Pennywise, and even if not, her actions in this season was enough to warrant that outcome. Though it is interesting how some part of her still seemed to be there when she stared at the kids later. This, or Pennywise maybe was partially possessing her? Not too sure. Though with her still being alive, there is still a chance that the version of her we see in It Chapter 2 is actually the Mrs. Kirsch or Periwinkle we're seeing now. Either way, afterwards, Pennywise fades away and everything seems to be over. And despite Halloran making contact with the dead, the silver lining is he was able to find the war chief who was able to guide them towards the beacons. Why Halloran is so ready to inform the general of this information, I'm not quite sure, but we do end up finding out more about what the general's true intentions actually are. Now, we have to keep in mind that he likely didn't even know his intentions himself, and is coming to newer and newer goals as the series progresses, as he didn't fully remember everything when he first arrived in Derry. Likely when he first started to remember things, he started to think about the fact that he could use Pennywise as a weapon of war against another nation of some kind. But we see, as time has progressed, he's likely remembered enough to the point where for some reason he really seems to think using Pennywise on his own country is a good idea. Now, spoiler alert if you don't want any, but later when I break down the promo for the next episode, we do see a glimpse of what I believe to be the general walking down. But I'll break down more theories on that during said section. Either way, I think the universe can agree that this is the stupidest plan anyone could possibly come up with. Honestly, him trying to contain it and weaponize Pennywise against any other faction would have made more sense than simply trusting that it could wreak havoc across the United States every 27 years and, like the Purge, maybe everyone would be well functioning and super nice. When in reality, the people of Derry, likely because of Pennywise's influence, are just horrible, horrible beings. I mean, you wouldn't want a country where schools are shot up, or people turn against each other because of their race, or you have some kind of presidential leader that wants to be a king of some kind, would you? Oh wait, it also seems like the general really did zero research, seeing as the Losers Club went to the library and found likely activity of Pennywise in Derry's history, even leading to the event of the very first settlers of Derry all completely vanishing, which should clue into someone that Pennywise has the capability of disappearing an entire group of people. But not only that, he had Rose as a guiding force. Someone who not only called out his idiotic plan, but he could have also gained more information about just to realize how the beacons could have worked. It seems even Leroy was speaking some common sense to him when he was trying to get him to realize what a dumb plan this was. And yet the general just seems to be blocking out any potential that this plan could backfire. I'm really hoping something in his past gave him this unfounded certainty, or maybe even he got deadlights without knowing it. And this is all partially Pennywise's influence. And despite Leroy trying to fix things, it turns out he was too late, with the general not isolating the beacon, not putting it in the sea or throwing it into space just to see what happens in case they need it again, but just straight up destroying it with no hopes of ever using it afterwards. Now, it's also good to keep in mind that Pennywise and getting closer to his auguries or his massacres usually cause the residents to act up and get a little more crazy. Like we see with the residents of Derry and hunting down Hank, like we see with Leroy hitting his son, or his son saying such hurtful things to Leroy. Still, this doesn't excuse this absolutely horrendous plan. I genuinely believe he would straight up allow Pennywise to be president if Pennywise promised him a nation that he used to remember. A nation apparently without women's rights being led by Pennywise is more preferable than what they had now. And it turns out during all this betrayal, dying, crying, and burning, Lily was simply becoming Gollum in her bedroom protecting that shard. That shard of which will likely become a key factor to play in the finale of the season. Either way, this did segue us to Will, who got a call from Pennywise in a moment that really reminded me of Scream, and ended with Will getting the Deadlights treatment. Which I didn't actually expect, but knowing how Will's fate turns out does make a lot of sense. Either way, let's go ahead and break down some theories for the next episode based on the promos we got. We see that Halloran has been pushed to his limits, with a lot of trippy shots and him just begging to end his life and all the voices that scream in his head. It makes you wonder how exactly he'll be able to put all the dead back in his box, or if we're likely to see his grandpa yet again. Maybe overcoming the fear of his grandpa being the key in locking the box up again. Sort of like in Dr. Sleep, with Danny finally confronting the bathtub ghost. We also get some glimpses of Leroy and Charlotte likely getting in another argument with their son missing. We also get a glimpse of some missing posters, but these aren't just the missing posters we've seen throughout town already. If you notice, these are actually some of the patty cakes, and even Will himself. This is all after this mysterious fog seems to roll over all of Derry. Now, I've had lots of theories about this fog, and I still think my theory about Pennywise tapping into the universal town fear of some chemical attack from a warring nation still could be true. We do see Pennywise's hand reaching up on the general's intercom. Personally, I believe this could be the moment that he utilizes that town fear, and maybe there's a fake broadcast put out or something like that, as it's not unlike Pennywise to appear on TV. As the fog rolls around, we get a glimpse of who I presume to be Pennywise behind some glass, likely locking some scared residents from safety. Notice the words Pennywise sings in this song here.
When I close my eyes and I dream of you, I see your pretty faces and I taste them too.
I take Will.
But my, oh my, how I wish to cry every time we say goodbye.
Very obviously coming from a heart and paying homage to his existence so far within the story. It's amazing how little he thinks of us humans, as a eldritch entity would, I guess. But he constantly just toys with us and messes with us and genuinely finds amusement from our existence before feeding on our fear, or our very flesh. And we really haven't seen him get scared or see us as any type of threat until the Losers Club. Again, the only things we've seen him actually fear are the shards or something non-living. Not even the full force of the military tracking Pennywise down is enough to even make him break out of his animalistic nature, with the Losers Club from the movies really being the only ones to piss him off. We then get a shot of Marge, Ronnie, and Lily running through the woods, likely trying to find a place to bury the shard. This could be how they potentially lock Pennywise back in Derry, but still seems like a very temporary fix to a very big problem. Let's also break down that we might get another flashback of the general walking down a trail of blood. Could this be another moment from the Ironworks explosion massacre where Pennywise could have been at his strongest? Or maybe it could be a moment that maybe led the general down this path to freeing Pennywise? We get more glimpses of Pennywise moving through the fog, and I'm so excited to see him in this sort of environment. We get several shots of characters, and it seems at some point they do find Will, with him, Charlotte, Rose, and Hatchet Hank, and presumably Lily, all hiding out in a van. This same van will later see them all sprinting from towards Pennywise's cart, which seems like one of the worst places you could ever go to. We then get glimpses of the military fighting back against presumably Pennywise, and it's safe to say they'll probably lose, with Leroy Hanlon even fighting as well. We also see Charlotte, Rose, and Hatchet Hank taking up arms to fight back too. I'm still wondering how well Rose and Hatchet Hank actually know each other. Could Hatchet Hank also be a character we see in future seasons, having lived in Derry? And could he have also experienced another cycle of violence as well? We also get a moment where Pennywise seems to be aggressively happy to say goodbye to some losers. Whether this is the military, the kids themselves, or any of the people with guns we see, I'm not quite sure. We then get a glimpse inside of what I presume to be Pennywise's cart, with Pennywise just straight up kicking someone over. I'm not sure who this could be, maybe Halloran trying to keep Pennywise distracted? Speaking of which, my next few videos for Derry will be covering both the character of Halloran and how well they've done with him, and the review of the first season of the show. So again, if you want to support the channel in any way, feel free to subscribe, like, or even turn on the notifications. With the spectacle of this season and its potential finale, I'm really hoping the story can do the Ironworks explosion justice. Should the show maintain its momentum and keep delivering each season, the budget for the Ironworks could be pretty great. This is if their merger with Netflix doesn't cause any problems. Either way, I'm hoping throughout each season we get more likable characters and more surprising deaths, as this series really did open up strongly. Either way, the burning of the black spot was definitely probably my favorite episode of the entire season. I feel they did the moment justice, they raised the tensions well, and that one shot truly was great. We lost a real one with Rich, RIP, but he really did protect his fair maiden, and he avoided dying to Pennywise. With the only other outcomes being growing up in Derry and just forgetting about all of this, or dying next episode. I definitely prefer this outcome for him, though I guess there's a chance he'd always want to leave Derry. But I believe that would be fully dependent on if Marge decided to stay. Either way, R.I.P. Rich, you were a real one.
I'm Rich, by the way. She had a point. Good pencil. It's the floor. You can't save the floor. Who did we save for?
I don't know. Your friends?
My friends. Sure. It's just hard making friends. You know?
I don't know.
I wish I never tried.
Guys.
And I wish I never met you, Lily Bainbridge.
Can't you see? This is what it wants. To turn us against each other. Don't we have a better chance if we're together?
I can't see too well in the dark.
Here, take my hand.
Your hand is really soft, like a kitty cat's belly. Are you two holding hands? No?
Yeah. It's awful, isn't it? No, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's cool.
They also fought in duels and rescued fair maidens.
Oh, hey, I got you something. I figured, I don't know, you might like it. There's no difference.
I love it. Look at us. A pirate and a knight.
Guess we got next Halloween all figured out, huh?
It's a date. Oh, come on. I've never seen you play before. Well, it's a couple more minutes.
Remember the day you came out of class with a yellow sweater and a gray skirt with a string tied to your finger? You remember that? You were so pretty. Where's Rich? I love you, Rich. I love you too.